Is it safe for government employees to speak out? Our present constitution provides that the right to self-organization shall not be denied to government employees, and the state shall guarantee the rights of all workers to self-organization, collective bargaining, and negotiation, and peaceful concerted activities including the right to strike in accordance with law. The Constitution's Bill of Rights also provides that no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and petition government for redress of grievances. However, we must understand that for freedom of expression is not an absolute, nor it is an unbridled license that gives immunity for every possible use of language and prevents the punishment of those who abuse this freedom. Therefore, it is subject to restriction. The constitutional provision on the right of freedom of expression together with the other constitutional provisions, laws, jurisprudence, and implementing rules and regulations that reflect the state's policy on the different government employees' right to peaceful concerted activities and to self-organization for purposes of collective bargaining. In Davao Water District versus Aranwes et al., GR number 194192, June 16, 2015, the Supreme Court ruled, "It is correct to conclude that those who enter government service are subjected to a different degree of limitation on their freedom to speak their mind. However, it is not tantamount to the relinquishment of their constitutional right of expression otherwise enjoyed by citizens just by reason of their employment. Unarguably, a citizen who accepts public employment must accept certain limitation on his or her freedom. But there are some rights and freedoms so fundamental to liberty that they cannot be bargained away. In a contract for public employment, it is the court's responsibility to ensure that citizens are not deprived of these fundamental rights by virtue of working for the government. In determination of the extent of exercise of this fundamental freedom, the nature of government agency where there may be some employment grievances should be taken into consideration. There are some, like the military in uniform personnel, requiring a greater degree of discipline within its rank, where certain forms of expression are limited. So how do we determine that? There are two functions of government, constituent and ministrant. Constituent functions are those which constitute the very bond of the society and are compulsory in nature. Examples are keeping of order and providing for protection of persons and property, the fixing of legal relations between man and wife, and between parents and child, the regulation of property and the determination of contract rights, the definition and punishment of crime, the administration of justice, the determination of political duties, privileges, and relations of citizens, dealings of the state with foreign powers, the preservation of the state from external danger, and the advancement of international interest. On the other hand, ministrant functions are those that are undertaken only by way of advancing the general interest of society and merely optional. Examples are public works, public education, public charity, health and safety regulations, and regulations of trade and industry. Government functions, which are basically ministrant, should thus have a wider scope of freedom of expression compared to the other government agency, which is constituent in nature. But we need also to be reminded that government workers, whatever their ranks, have as much right as any person in the land to voice out their protests against what they believe to be violation of their rights and interests. The civil service does not deprive them of their freedom of expression. For it would be unfair to hold that by joining the government service, the members thereof have renounced or waived this basic liberty. This freedom can be reasonably regulated only, but can never be taken away.